Alan says he can't understand the loonies who want to turn the country over to a foreign force. Difficult to know why. And a lot of these people are very angry and they're just very upset with life. And I don't call them, I try not to call them any kind of nasty names because a lot of them are redeemable. Some of them are not redeemable, unfortunately, because I was saying things like I was bringing up the people who got killed by asylum seekers and they're going like, as if, you know, crocodile tears. That's kind of evil, really. They shouldn't be doing that. Yep, Derek, you're right. They're well organized. Joe says, I'm from New York. Good to see you, Joe. And I don't fully understand what the situation is, but I do know what home feels like. And for you to have that feeling taken away, I can't imagine. Paul says, we live in confusing times. Thanks for shining a light on the issues. Well, we do our best, Paul. Thank you. Rafa is concerned about the dystopian horror society that the UK is becoming. Yes, everybody, Eric, at that who were against us was certainly white. I mean, there was maybe a handful, literally, of non-white people who were against us. Hey, Budgie Burger says, I've always liked your red jacket because it's rock and roll. Elvis and Eddie Cochran. Isn't it just rock and roll? Paul gives us a little bit of background. In the last days, men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, abusive, ungrateful, unloving, slanderous, abusive, without self-control, brutal, without love of good. And that's 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 to 4. Rafa says Britain's controlled by Zog, which, if you don't know, is the Zionist occupation government. UK Wildman says, vote restore Britain. Well, maybe that's a good segue into our guest, who is our man on the Mersey, Damien. People, please do say hello to Damien. Now, folk on TikTok, I'm going to have to leave you because you won't be seeing this. But if you want to see it, we're on youtube.com/UK A Force for Good. Thanks for watching over there on TikTok. Let me just get rid of the TikTok. Here we go. Damien, sorry to keep you waiting.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine. Yes. Yes, let's bring you up in full glorious Technicolor. Now, you've got a Restore Britain cap on, so I guess there's no question about who you might be supporting in tomorrow's Makerfield election. But before we get into that, what's going on in the background there?
You mean my lovely pictures?
Your lovely pictures. Is that that looks like James Bond?
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Fantastic. Where did you get that?
HMV in Warrington a couple of years ago. I've got lots of movie posters and different types of posters in the room, and I interchange them.
Is that all the James Bond posters?
It is. It's all 25. You can't see them all, but it is all 25.
What's your favourite?
My favourite poster or favourite movie?
Favourite poster on the wall there?
I would probably say one you can't actually see very much, which is the GoldenEye one. Whoa, the GoldenEye one. That one like that. The GoldenEye one. Yeah.
Okay.
My favourite Bond as well.
Good. Well, I can tell you my favourite poster, and it is the second row, second from the left. Live and Let Die. Or is it third from the left? Oh, that's just amazing.
Is that your favourite Bond movie or just your favourite poster?
Well, it's my favourite poster, certainly. And that's Roger McGuinness. And he did that one. He did a couple. He did several around that time. And he also did the next one, The Man with the Golden Gun. and I just love the drama of his posters. And when I was a wee boy, I remember seeing those at the Odeon, outside the Odeon, and just standing looking at them outside the Odeon in Ayr, and just being totally entranced, enchanted, maybe is the word, by the excitement that was oozing from his posters. But yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, let's talk about the excitement that's happening in Makerfield tomorrow.
Well, first of all, let's plug England. We are playing tonight. I
Yeah.
take it as a good unionist, Alistair, you will be supporting England tonight in the World Cup.
Of course, I support all the British teams, and I think that's the correct thing to do. Absolutely. So come on, England. When are they playing? I think it's about 9 o'clock. Is it?
That's right. And let's face it, if Scotland win or England win, Britain still wins. That's the whole point.
Britain wins, exactly. That's the point, and that's the attitude that we want to have. So yeah, good luck to England tonight against Croatia. And I think England are going to do well. I think so. I think England always do fairly well in the World Cup. They are quite a good team. Okay, so have you been down to Makerfield? Now tomorrow, Andy Burnham is contesting it, and
I've been twice.
You've been twice. When was the last time you went?
The weekend with the big action day on the Saturday. So I met a few people while I was down there. Salt of the earth people, just like me, want the best for their country. Met a few political commentators. I met a Lotus Eater, Luke Johnson. I met him. I met young Bob. And I met Orla Minihan, who's dealing with the safeguarding for women and girls for Restore Britain. So I met a few big people up there, big names, and it was just good to get out on the grounds and actually canvass with people.
Good. Yeah. I mean, did they have much of a turnout of people helping them?
I would say between 1,000 and 1,200 people turned up. I've never heard of that for a canvassing day for a political election. I've never heard that at all.
Goodness me, that's a significant turnout of.
We had the guy from your neck of the woods, Craig Houston, went down. But I didn't actually meet him personally, but he was there. But it's really good to see people from all over the UK. There's even people coming over from Australia to canvass.
Wow.
Basically, he's first generation Australian. Both of his parents are British, and he's come back over to Britain to fight for the motherland with Restore Britain. And I'm like, that's patriotism. That's patriotism.
Absolutely, that's above and beyond the Call of Duty there, absolutely.
He's actually sold up shop in Australia and actually moved back over to Britain to do this as well. I think that's amazing. Hello.
UK Wildman seems to be on your side. He says there's no other party solution other than Rupert Lowe, Restore Britain. And that's a proper baseball cap, he says. Now, just talking about that, though, and I'm going to just throw this hardball at you. And it's what everybody points out, of course, is that Restore and Reform are going to, technically, you could say, split the vote and indeed allow Andy Burnham to come through the centre and win. And so did you face much of that sort of opposition or point of view when you were campaigning?
Not really. And that's, I'm sure other people may have had that on the doorstep, but I can speak to my experience where I had one person say to me, I love Rupert Lowe, I love Restore Britain, this election's not their time. Hello. I'm going to be voting for them in the general election. It's Reform to keep Burnham out. I had that response once on the doorstep, and I knocked on quite a few different doors. I was canvassing with somebody as well, and they actually had someone chase them down the street. They had a green car in the drive, and they said, "Don't be putting that through my door." A Restore Britain leaflet, and we asked why. He goes, "Because I'm not a racist." And the guy panicked. The guy panicked, as in the guy I was canvassing with sort of panicked. It was the first time canvassing. And he goes, fair enough. And I said, well, next time they say that, just say, I'm sorry to hear that, and move on. just say, I'm sorry to hear you're not a racist, move on. If someone's made up their mind that you're a racist and they can come at you as that as an opening salvo, There's no helping them. Just say, I'm sorry to hear that, move on. Don't engage with it. You know you're not a racist. You're standing behind facts and figures, and you need to be strong on that, and you just need to say, sorry to hear that, move on.
I think it's a good point. I mean, we were getting shouted at on Saturday as well, people calling us all sorts of names, but it's like, so what? How does that, what's the Batman and Bane meme is like, what you think this holds power over me? It doesn't. And so,
It's like Saruman to Gandalf. You have no power here. It's that
yeah,
whole thing. You've got no power. I don't care. Rupert Lowe, I don't care. We don't care anymore. It's as simple as long as we're being within parameters of the law, we're being legal, we're not inciting violence, and we're giving people genuine political choice. This is the thing that a lot of people will come at you and say, well, you're splitting the vote. Well, first of all, that's very presumptuous that any party owns your vote. And second of all, it also doesn't factor in the disaffected voter. If you look at the last general election, only 59% turned out to vote. So that's 41% that didn't bother. They're not voting for anybody currently. Who are they going to vote for? Well, they could be voting for this party that I'm supporting currently. And that's the thing. The legacy parties and even Reform UK currently, they seem to have this warped mindset that there's a fixed pie of voters. Well, no, the pie can get at least 41% bigger because of the disaffected voter. So who's going to be winning those votes? The people that aren't voting, the people that have given up on politics or haven't voted for decades or not since Brexit. Who's speaking for them? Who's speaking for people like me? I mean, this is what you need to think of when people assume that there's a fixed pie of voters. I've never subscribed to that. I've never thought that that's particularly powerful. You should be able to keep your voters happy by giving them what they vote for. And this is the whole point.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's put up the result from the last Westminster general election in that area. And we're looking there at, that was Labour came top in 2024 with 18,000, with Reform. And it was the same candidate, Robert Kenyon, at almost 13,000. So that's a difference of 5,000. But the turnout was abysmal. The turnout's like 53%, shall we say?
Yeah, so that's like 7% below the national average of 59%.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's all these extra people, another 47% of that constituency who could turn out and vote and totally change that completely. So it's definitely going to be between Labour and Reform. And the question is,
there could be a major upset. There could be a major upset, and that's what a lot of people on the ground are thinking. There could be a huge upset.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. I think there could be a huge upset. Let's remove that picture.
I mean, there's a couple of options here. You could say that Restore Britain come in competitive third. For an upstart new party that's only been a political party since February, that would be astounding. Beating the Lib Dems, the Tories, and the Green Party, who have been in existence for decades, if not centuries, beating all of them 4 months out of the gate, that would be remarkable in of itself if they came in competitive third. And then you look at what could happen. They could leapfrog Reform. That would be a major upset for Reform UK. And then the outside chances they actually take it, we actually take it. The only election that is lost or is a waste is the one that you've not stood in. Because even if Restore Britain don't do as well as expected, you've still got valuable campaigning information moving forward for the next election. Where the strengths are, where the weaknesses, who voted for you, who didn't.
Yeah.
At the moment, if you're in a political party, you're essentially going in blind. You've got no data.
Yes, I think you're right. I think it could be quite feasible that Restore come in like third. If I was a betting man, which I'm not really, I would say Restore would probably come third, actually. But who's going to win between Reform and Labour remains to be seen. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want to call it because, as I say, there's all these extra people that could come in
That's my
And
prediction as a Conservative. Excuse me, is a competitive third place.
mhm, mhm. Well, that would, as you say, that would be amazing, and that would be extremely worrying for Reform, because it would disturb them as far as the 2029 election is concerned. So who knows how it's all going to go? Who knows how all that whole Reform Restore thing is going to play out? But we'll have a better idea Friday morning, no doubt, when we see the results. And of course, Restore could do kind of badly, in which case that would.
I don't think we're looking at the Vance UK situation in Gorton and Denton, where they barely got over 100, and I think they got maybe 150 votes. I don't think we're looking at that, just by the reception we're getting on the doorsteps and just by what people are saying. Now, if you look at what happened in Great Yarmouth in the local elections, they had an uptick on the people going out to vote over local elections. They added 10-15% on the turnout for local elections. When you look at the national average over to what happened in Great Yarmouth, now if that happens similar in Makerfield, and say for example, my by-election last year, only 46% of people turned out to vote in that election. If in this by-election it gets in at maybe the late 50s, high, low 60s, and most of those votes break for Restore Britain, something you need to think about, or a lot of people need to think about, is galvanising the voter that's not inclined to vote.
Yeah. That's going to be the unknown quantity, quite literally. The unknown quantity is the voter who's not usually voted, who is going to be galvanized to do something because they have been encouraged by the message, whether that's from Reform or from Restore. And
plain and simple, isn't it? Millions must go.
Yeah, what do you think is the significant difference? Here's a good question: the significant difference between Reform and Restore, because I know that many people, including myself, do puzzle about that.
Consistency. I would say consistency of messaging. Say, for example, we had 3 people higher ups from Reform UK recently. We had Layla Cunningham. She was at Oxford Union, and she says she doesn't think that migrants should be removed from social housing. All right. Interesting take for a right-leaning party looking to clamp down on mass migration, that they don't think that migrants should be in, so they don't think that they should be removed from social housing. And then you have Robert Jenrick a month or so later going on TV, turning around and saying, well, that's one of the things that we're going to look at, and if they can't afford to be in a house, social housing, basically, they shouldn't be in social housing. That's one of the criterion, and we may be looking to deport them. And then we get Zia Youssef on GB News clarifying that and saying, no, if migrants are in social housing, they're going to be deported. So there's a lack of consistent messaging. It's almost as if they're going to say anything to anybody to get a vote. In short, your typical politician. Whereas with Rupert Lowe, he said that he wants to abolish the Scottish Parliament. He says that he got interviewed by Craig Houston on the weekend, and he literally came out, I don't care, we're abolishing the Scottish Parliament. Simple messaging. He said he wants to bring back the death penalty. Fine. Okay, on board with that. Millions must go. No migrants are going to be in social housing. Anybody complicit in the Pakistani grooming gangs or their accomplices, like family members, going to be deported if not given the death penalty here. What's not coherent, what's not consistent, what's not. They even want to bring back the law, or sorry, they want to bring it back so you've got the right to self-defense in your home. Because at the moment, there's in Britain, well, specifically in England and Wales, it may differ slightly in Scotland. You've got to act in a proportionate way. Proportionality comes into it. So if somebody breaks into your house, you don't have the right to use terminal force if you can escape. Whereas if Restore Britain got in, they would say, right, if someone's broken into your home, they're on your property, you can use terminal force, and the state's not going to come after you. So similar to what they've got in America.
Yeah. But these, as you say, without going into the rights and wrongs of all those things, I think those are clear differentiations anyway between
And it's
between
consistent,
reform.
and it's consistent messaging.
Consistent. Yeah, consistent messaging. Yeah, it is the same, by the way. Self-defense law is essentially the same in Scotland and in England. And yeah. Well, there's also, of course, another two by-elections tomorrow, which have not been getting the same publicity. One of them is in Arbroath and Broughty Ferry, and it's a Westminster election, and it's as a result of an SNP MP being elected to the Scottish Parliament, a man called Stephen Gethins. And
Oh, I
let's
don't like
put,
him. I don't like
oh
him. I don't like
no,
him at all. He
no,
got in,
it's a
and he
nasty
got in.
piece of work.
He got in when Nicola Sturgeon got all the seats but 3 in Scotland in 2015, and I remember seeing him on TV and thinking, "Oh my God, he's absolutely vile." And Arbroath, isn't that where you had a recent migrant attack? If the press is to believe, if the stuff I'm seeing on press is to be believed, that you had a migrant attack on a young girl in Arbroath.
Yes, that's correct. And in fact, there's been two in short order, or at least there's been one that's confirmed by the police, and they arrested a man. And there is one that's been circulating. And as of just now, I have not personally seen the police making a comment on it. But yes, there is Arbroath, and that all of these areas are affected in the way that everything is affected these days. And let's put up the Arbroath and Broughty Ferry result from 2024. And it was Stephen Gethins there. Labour coming very close, actually. However, from what I've been reading, it seems to be everybody's saying that the SNP are a shoe-in for that one, even though it doesn't look like it, does it there? But there's
I know
been
it is
no...
rather close, but it's probably a lot of the negative press from the Labour Party UK-wide. That's probably negatively
Yeah,
impacting their chances in that seat, if I'm to look at the figures here.
yes, I think so. And the other one, which is the big one that the media have also been concentrating on, is Aberdeen South. And that's Stephen Flynn, who was an MP, and he has again got elected as an MSP, so he stood down. And the word on the street is that that's a close one between SNP and Conservative, but again complicated by the presence of reform.
Are the Tories picking up the oil platform for Aberdeen?
Yes. Let's just remove that pick. And what we've got there is the Tories thinking perhaps possibly that they are in with a chance there. And certainly the Tories and Reform obviously have a completely different message from the SNP and also from Labour, because the SNP do not openly want to develop the oil fields in in what are the names of these oil fields? Rosebank and Jackdaw, where there are billions of gallons of oil which could be investigated and could be developed. But the SNP and Labour are very unclear about that. And of course, Ed Miliband doesn't want any development of that at all. And so you've got the Scottish executive that doesn't want to develop it, and you've got a British government that doesn't want to develop it. So, I mean, anybody in Aberdeen who votes for the SNP or Labour, I'm going to tell you, you're a blooming idiot if you're doing that.
Are you of the Jill baby Jill mindset?
Yeah, I totally do not believe in net zero. I believe that the whole climate thing is a scam, that it's a scam to deindustrialize the West. I've come to believe that, because otherwise it makes no sense. Why is the system making everything more expensive for us all? It just seems like wrong.
I think it's all about wealth distribution from the taxpayer to the coffers, to the corporate interests. Because if you look at the green energy, if it was viable, it wouldn't need to be subsidised. and the subsidy is in your energy bills. Most of it, there's an upmark on all your energy bills in Britain that pays for all green subsidies. And that goes to the people that are plugging the green technologies. And it also goes to obviously the green companies as well. And I'm like, if it was sustainable and if it was economically viable, I would be all for it. If the local people don't mind the eyesores of the wind farms in their area, well, that's perfectly fine. But again, local people should have the veto on the eyesores, because I've travelled through Scotland on train. They are absolutely abhorrent. All the wind farms are all over the place. They're horrible to look at, and they just destroy the natural scenery. And then obviously, as I say, you get onto the cost, and then you get onto, you need to make energy cheap and sustainable for everybody, and you do that by lowering the prices. So it'd be the practical economic stance to go for the cheapest option.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's certainly true. And the the green energy is such from these wind farms, the amount of money that a landowner can get from one windmill. Now, I thought I had the details there. I don't. It's in the other room in the office, but it's thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds a year from one windmill. So if you have like 7 windmills on your land, you don't have to work again. You're getting it'll into 6 figures of money just coming into
And then
your.
you look at and then you look at the collateral damage as well, all the
Mm.
birds and all the wildlife that fly into them. It's strange that the Green Party doesn't say anything about that.
Yeah, and why don't they? Why don't they say anything about that? It's puzzling. It's puzzling, and I'm not sure that I've got an answer for you as to why they don't say anything about it. Because wind is is a means of energy, but I've always been of the opinion that it should be exploited, developed on a small scale, not on a mass industrial scale. Because once you get into like mass industry, you are contradicting your idea of the the light footprint upon the world, which is essentially a core element of green and ecological politics. You're actually advocating for the mass industrialization of ecology, which is not really, which is a complete contradiction
And
in terms.
and then you look at the wind farms specifically, they're not recyclable, all right?
Oh
So they
yeah,
go to landfill,
yeah.
and they're built in China by the Communist Party under slave labor conditions,
That's right. It's not as if even we're getting some kind of benefit from developing the blooming things or putting them up
or
or
building them
anything.
here.
We're
Because
not
it'd be
even building
different
them
if
here.
we were exactly, if we were building them here, you could make an argument to say it's creating industry, it's creating jobs, it's getting people back into work. But now they want to get rid of all the people on the oil rigs, and they want to ship off the jobs to China in the
Yeah,
communist slave labor conditions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Damien, we're going to find out tomorrow. Very interesting results. Who won? Who wins Makerfield? Is it Andy Burnham? Is it Reform? Is it potentially even Restore? We're going to find out who wins Aberdeen South. Is it going to be the SNP, where the people in Aberdeen vote for their own demise yet again? Or is it going to be the Conservatives? It's probably unlikely to be Reform in Aberdeen South, but who knows? We shall see. And who is going to win in Arbroath and Broughty Ferry? Is it the SNP, where people will again vote for their own demise and vote for the importation of dangerous men into their society, which is exactly what John Swinney wants? Or is it going to be Labour, who also advocate for the importation of very dangerous men into our society? So we're all kind of buggered, to be frank with you, but there might be a ray of light somewhere, and you and I are going to try to find that ray of light, because we must not give up on hope. As Obama said, hope is what it's all about. Damien, if people want to see you, you have got a great channel where you're putting out stuff daily, on the daily, youtube.com/ at Cheshire Cat Musings. And folks, if you're on YouTube, please do give this man a follow, because the common sense that you heard tonight, you're going to be hearing every day in your ear if you subscribe to his channel. Damien, great to have you on. It's the top of the hour. We will say good night to you and wish you and your party the very best for tomorrow.
I appreciate your time. You have a good evening, and yeah, let's get England winning tonight, shall we?
And that as well. And that as well. Okay.
I appreciate your time. All the best, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Fantastic. That's Damien. Whoa, tonight has been packed with interesting information and interesting people. I've had a blast. I hope you have had a blast too. Folks, please do share this if you're on Twitter. Give us a repost. That really helps on Twitter. Give us a share on Facebook and on YouTube as well. And please help us because we need the cash to keep going. And you can do that by buying Protect Our Country. Search Amazon for Protect Our Country. Policies to stop mass immigration. And that's $12.99, of which we get about £3 of that. And so if we sell 1 million copies, that means that we will get £3 million. Think about that. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And if we sell 2 copies, it means we get £6, which isn't enough to buy a pint in the centre of Glasgow, but it's sort of about 80% there. So please do consider helping us. And if you want to actually give us a serious donation, the best thing to do is to go to this address, aforceforgood.uk/support. And there you can give us £1 million if you want, or you can sign up per month at £3 a month or £3 million a month, whatever takes your fancy. And that will come straight into a Force for Good's bank account and enable us to continue to keep standing up for our fantastic United Kingdom and saying all the things that we do. So folks, been a good show. Thank you for all the comments that you have given. Slim Yin has come back with a £5 super chat. Thank you very much, folks. To make a super chat, you click on the $ just below the video. Thank you for that. And thanks to all our friends for joining us this evening, and thanks to our guest. It just remains, folks, it just remains for me to say we will be back next week. So in the meantime, God bless the United Kingdom and God save the King. See you next week.